Good morning, everyone. So, to the best of my knowledge, there is a protest going on in Dublin this afternoon, or this morning. Today, anyway. I suppose it'd nearly be hard to pinpoint one single issue that people are protesting for, because this government, on the whole, is just totally disconnected from the people. It does not appear to be even trying to present for the people sort of a stance on things, right? They don't come and talk to people. You've seen countless videos of them using copious amounts of logical fallacies to answer questions, which should be pointed out by nearly every agency, every journalist across the country, that the mental capabilities, the rhetorical capabilities, and the logical capabilities, or lack of, in these politicians should automatically disqualify them from even pretending to be people who are representing the average Irish person, right? Which is in the job description itself, right? The fact that they're not, and there's an abundance of information, there's an abundance of situations that journalists ordinarily would have an absolute field day with. But the newspapers, by and large, outside of independent ones, right, are slanted in total favour of the regime, right? So you've regular Irish people who've had enough of this, and I absolutely commend them. Beautiful stuff. And anyone that's a little bit on the fence, why stay there? You know, like, if you have an issue with what's going on, let's grow up and let's be adults and let's assert ourselves in some way, right? Have conversations, be bold about it. And being bold at the moment just means pointing out something that most people would disagree with. But we've kind of lost that. We've lost the metal, I suppose, the steel in our stomachs and our bowels, even to talk about bad things that are going on and bad things that are happening, right? Like, we're being absolutely rinsed. We are absolutely being pillaged, financially, socially, psychologically, in terms of the plans that are in place for what's going to be going on in the education of our schools with our children. None of it is positive, and we are being absolutely fleeced. Our futures are being stolen from us. There's no receipts being given to us. There's not even a promise of a better tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? Like, so this thing on its face now is showing you that it has no care for you. It is not thinking of you. It's taking everything from you, and it is funding everything that you would not want to be happening in your country. And I've seen a couple of clips, and this is probably best embodied or epitomized in the fencing that has been put up around the Dáil. It looks like the fencing that went up around the Capitol building in 2020, right, in America. Crazy, crazy stuff. You would imagine, if your heart was in the right place and you got into the world of politics to try and make a difference, to try and have a positive impact on the country, to try and secure a positive legacy for yourself, whatever it is, you know, to try and make Ireland a better place tomorrow than it was yesterday, you would imagine that those types of people will be out and trying to communicate with the people that pay their bills, the Irish taxpayer. But they don't. You don't see any of that. You see squirminess and sneakiness in how they answer questions. They don't actually answer. They just talk for a minute or two about nothing really, right? And it sounds like they're giving you an answer, but they're not. They're giving you a response. They're not giving you an answer to any questions that you have. They're giving you this PR response that all sounds the same. And the lovely thing about mobile phones is that you get to see the average Irish person, and you get to see some very intelligent and eloquent people speak, right? And you can juxtapose that, just raw, speaking with emotion and not being afraid to speak with emotion, but also aimed at the truth as best as we can comprehend it, right? You can juxtapose that with the men and women that are in the Dáil at the moment, and they are worlds apart. They are dyed-in-the-wool politicians. And in Ireland, as a child, I remember like knowing nearly a priori, innately or instinctively, that politicians are corrupt, right? And as a child, you hear the words, you know the phrase, but you don't really understand that much, the depth of it anyway, until you grow up and you be shafted by a few people, or you see sneaky people in action, right? And I think the greatest gift in the world for people, if you use it correctly, is being exposed to horrible people. Seeing evil in action in people. Seeing people who don't have the ability to self-reflect on anything, or if they do, they always come up with the wrong interpretation of their actions. You know, through pure narcissist lens, it always comes back to how hard done by they were, or how great they are in terms of how they deal with things, right? And this is what you see with these politicians. Self-congratulations, let's give ourselves nearly annual raises and bonuses, and instead of putting our hands in our pockets for anything, we just declare the expenses on everything, right? And I suppose what I would like to see in the future would be a genuine meritocracy, right? So you're not paid guaranteed in public office just by being in there. You're not guaranteed what your salary says it should be, right? Or what previous salary said it should be. You're paid based on your actions, on your performance, and how much your actions line up with your declared goals and aims, right? And they need to be explicit, because they're all just vague things. So we put €1,000 back in your pocket. Every person should have €1,000 back in their pockets. Back. How about not taking it in the first place? How about not taking it in the first place? And people that sign on for this Jack Chambers, or whatever his name is, spiel of let's give you back €1,000. He's already stealing the money from you, and he's trying to bribe you in election time. Look at the Apple thing that's after coming, the 13 billion. That was waved away a few years ago. Why is it back now? Now they're saying, the government are saying that they want that. Why? To bribe you with it. To bribe you with it. This is money that should be openly spread around for the benefit of Ireland, right? There is countless situations and countless institutions and services that this could be plugged into immediately, right? There's another 7 billion that should be taken off the table as well for stuff that's going on in Ireland that we know about, right? So there's 20 billion euros that could be and should be freely turned over to the benefit of the average Irish person, right? So much going on. And today you have people that have had enough, and they're going to go to Dublin and they're going to protest, and we'll see what comes of that, right? And people, look, the pessimist or the cynic might say, well, sure, what's the point? Nothing's going to change. Of course, nothing changes with that attitude. So if you're a little bit on the fence, there is no greater time in the world to start speaking honestly and start speaking the truth. It's a beautiful time for it, because things are changing. And if you want to know if the current is shifting or has shifted, just look at the response from the government. It's nearly totally tyrannical at this point. They wouldn't need to do that if they felt that everyone was just falling in line. So they're scared, they're worried, they're concerned. Rightly so. People have had enough. And even if people aren't out voicing that they've had enough, they're feeling it, right?